You've made many friends on Thursday night. Now meet Joey.
If you need anything, you can always come to Joey. Me and Chandler live right across the hall. He's away a lot.
Joey, stop hitting on her. It's her wedding day.
What? Like there's a rule or something?
Friends, Thursdays this fall on NBC.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Palace Off the Top Rope. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, on today's show, I'm going to be doing a top 10 of my favorite episodes of the television show Friends, which this year is celebrating its 25th anniversary. 25 years. September 22nd, 1994 was when this show debuted. Now, yeah, the actual anniversary date passed. It was a couple of days ago, but we could pretty much, like, the whole year is a celebration of this milestone and this show that's still around and being rediscovered and even rewatched by people, including myself. I love that it's had this second life on streaming sites like Netflix, and they still even play it on TBS, and I think Nickelodeon, Nick at Night. I think they still play episodes. I'm not sure. I don't have that channel, but this is probably in my top 3 of favorite television shows ever. It's definitely one that I can stop and watch no matter when it's on TV, no matter what episode. I will leave it on there and just have it play till the end. And it's also one of those like comfort watches. I have a friend who discovered the series not that long ago, and she mentioned how it was such a comfort to watch and how easy the shows were to get through. And I think she's watched this series over like a bunch of times. That's how easy of a watch it is. And this is a show that ran for over 10 years. So you're looking at 200 plus episodes. And that just goes to show you, I think, how strong of a show that it is. And I know recently, and I know this show dealt with its criticisms back in the day, but everything's more vocal now, right, in this social media world where everybody has an opinion. And, there's some negative on it, dealing with like race and, all these other things. But in the grand scheme of everything, you can't really take away from this show's cultural impact in the U.S. I mean, it was the most popular show during its original run from 94 to 2004. And of course, it was probably around 96, 97 where it just became the biggest thing in pop culture. Everybody would tune in Thursday nights. It was must-see TV Thursday, right? And you had a whole lineup of shows, and Friends was always the lead going into it. You also had Seinfeld, Will and Grace, ER, that's also celebrating another milestone as one of the first really big prestige dramas. But Thursday nights on NBC was a real powerhouse, and it all kicked off with Friends. And it was super popular all the way till it ended. I remember watching the finale. I watched it by myself. I was super invested every single week. I can't say I watched it from the beginning. I was still very young when the show premiered. But I can't remember when exactly syndication really became a thing. But this show was on every channel on playback. We used to have a channel called the WB, and they would air hours of Friends, and that's how I was able to catch up and discover. And then it wasn't until maybe around season, I want to say probably late season 3 and on is when I really started to watch it on NBC as weekly television. And then of course, towards the later seasons, you'd have your cliffhangers and having to wait months for the continuation in the stories. And now these days, the kids can watch it and they get to the end of a season and all that pops up is, hey, next episode. So there's no having to wait on that. So you kind of lose some of the luster with the cliffhangers. Now when you watch it now, it may not seem as big of a deal, but man, when you would watch these live, when they would air on NBC, especially their cliffhangers. They were really known for that. Man, it would just leave you with so much like angst and so much anxiety because you wanted to know what was going to happen. And then they would always have big premieres in Septembers and on their openings. And then, yeah, they just gave us so many great episodes. And the entire cast, I believe, is just funny top to bottom. You know, this never felt like a show where like one person was the main lead. Like everybody had their moment to shine in this series. But obviously, I guess from name recognitions, the one that probably became the biggest in terms of like having a career in Hollywood post this show and like movies was probably Jennifer Aniston. And also she was very famous for having been dating like Brad Pitt during this run of the show. So she became even more famous because of that. But yeah, they all had their moments to shine on this show. And this top 10 is more of like my favorites. It's not what I think are the best episodes, because if you talk to so many people, there's so many moments from so many different parts of this series where they consider like the best or their favorites. So and I'm interested when I talk to the people that are fans of this show on what their favorite episodes are and what they like about it. Because honestly, the entire show, like I love, like. There's not yes, the later seasons kind of like they start to like kind of like go their own ways. And I think that's why the more earlier seasons are more beloved, because it's more about them just being single and being, you know, just together as friends and navigating the world. But once they came towards the latter part of the seasons, it became more about like families and, you know, finding your way past being in the city and, you know, settling down and all that stuff. And it was all great and stuff because they all just, you know, had such good chemistry. But I think a majority of the fans love like the earlier seasons where it was a chunk of it was just them living out their single lives in New York City and all the adventures they would get into. But this is a top 10 of what I consider my favorite episodes and a lot of standout moments for me. Yeah, I hope you enjoy this episode. I was going to make it a top 5 and just stick it onto the other episode that I'm going to put together this week. But I figured for the 25th anniversary, this deserves its own little special episode. This is not a spin-off show. This ain't like what I'm doing with WWE SmackDown. Although I would love to do a rewatch and review each episode. And maybe I will. Maybe in the future I'll think about something like that for this podcast, if y'all are interested in that. But for right now, I think a top 10 is perfect because I can really narrow it down to the stuff that I really like. And then even talk about some honorable mentions because there's so many that I can choose from. It's hard to really put them also by what I think are my absolute favorite episodes. I could say maybe the top 5 for sure are like in order, but after that it's kind of like it can change like on any given day, any given year, because they're all that good. But for sure the top 5 are what I think are my personal like favorite episodes. And let's go down a little bit of memory lane. Friends turns 25 this year. Let's do this. All right, here we go. Number 10, The One with the Jellyfish. This is from Season 4, Episode 1. The original air date was September 25th, 1997. Now, this was coming off the episode or the season where they ended it at the beach in season 3. And we open up season 4 and they're still hanging out at the beach. And and I'm very sorry as I'm going through this list. There may be moments in this podcast where I may just start to laugh my ass off. And that's the type of show that this was for me. You know, the zingers still to this day get me so much, and I can just burst out laughing. Like, this and Seinfeld are probably like the only shows where it feels like every time I watch it, even though I've seen it dozens and dozens of times, it always feels like I'm watching it for the first time, and I can just absolutely laugh my ass off. So a bunch of the zingers here in these episodes that I consider my top 10 are just 100% just work for me every single time, and they haven't lost any of its magic. And I think that's the beauty of why this show is one of my favorites. So one of the main plot points in this episode is that Monica, played by Courtney Cox, is stung by a jellyfish on the beach as she's hanging out with Chandler and Joey, played by Matthew Perry and Matt LeBlanc. And you know, how do we deal with a jellyfish sting? We have to, what cures the pain on some of these theories is I've never been stung by one, so I wouldn't know, and I've never really made it out to the beach a lot in my life, so I can't really state whether this is accurate or not. Maybe it is. I haven't read too much into it, but one of the ways to cure a jellyfish sting or to help it out is to have it get peed on. And Chandler has to be the one to do it after, some stumbling with Joey. And it becomes a real mystery during the show as to what happened in this situation. And it's Phoebe and Ross and Rachel all trying to figure out what's happening. And it just leads to some really great comedy and it's all in how they present the story. And it's super, super hilarious. It's also got another one of my favorite moments from Chandler, and it comes at the very end of this episode. And I'm going to air some clippings on this that you'll be able to hear. But the moment that I'm talking about is not going to appear in this audio clip, but it's where Ross and Rachel are getting back together and then breaking up over a letter that was written. And they're arguing with each other. This is towards the very last moments of the episode. And Chandler is hidden behind the front door of the apartment. So, because it's, Ross and Rachel just arguing and going at it back and forth. And, Ross finally storms out. And Rachel says something to the line of like, hey, it's not that common. It doesn't happen to other guys. And it is a big deal. And blah, blah, whatever. I think I may be quoting that wrong, but I don't care because I know how the scene actually plays out. So anyways, she storms back inside to the apartment. And Chandler immediately comes out of the door and yells in, "I knew it!" And it's just the way he does it, and it just comes out of nowhere. That's the way the episode ends. The whole episode's fantastic, of course, to me. But here's a little bit of a clip from the one with the jellyfish, and it's number 10 for me.
Pass the cheese, please. My God, you can't even look at me, can you?
Nope.
Hey, it's Phoebe. We can talk to Phoebe.
No, I'm too depressed to talk.
I'll give you $1,000 to talk to us.
Hey, you guys, what do you think about making that beach trip an annual thing?
No.
All right, that's it, you guys. What happened out there?
What? We took a walk. Nothing happened. I came back with nothing all over me.
Come on, what happened, Joey?
All right.
No! Joey, we swore we'd never tell.
They'll never understand. We have to say something. We have to get it out. It's eating me alive. Monica got stung by a jellyfish.
All right.
All right. I got stung. Stung bad. I couldn't stand. I couldn't walk.
We were 2 miles from the house. We were scared and alone. We didn't think we could make it.
I was in too much pain.
And I was tired from digging the huge hole. And then Joey remembered something.
I'd seen this thing on the Discovery Channel.
Wait a minute. I saw that on the Discovery Channel. Yeah, about jellyfish and how if you... Ew! You peed on yourself?
Ew! You can't say that. You don't know. I mean, I thought I was gonna pass out from the pain. Anyway, I tried, but I couldn't bend that way. So?
That's right, I stepped up. She's my friend and she needed help. If I had to, I'd pee on any one of you.
Only, I couldn't. I got the stage fright. I wanted to help, but there was just too much pressure. So I turned to Chandler.
Joey kept screaming at me, "Do it now! Do it! Do it! Do it now!" Sometimes late at night, I can still hear the screaming.
That's because sometimes I just do it through my wall to freak you out.
Maybe there's somebody that you guys could talk to.
Now, who? It's not like they have a group for people like us.
Yeah, no, there's this guy, Owen. He's the best. Might have his card.
At number 9, it's the one where Ross can't flirt. This is from season 5, episode 19, and the original air date was April 22nd, 1999. Now, boy, can I relate to this more than ever. It makes me feel uncomfortable when I watch it just because it's so relatable to me. I don't think I've ever been good at flirting either, at least in my experiences. And, you know, I've tried to get better, you know, as I've grown up. You know, I do like online dating now and doing all these blind dates. Yeah, you do have to talk and try to, you know, make your way and see if you have chemistry with the person that you got sitting across from you. So, you know, I've tried to get better on that. But as far as like the flirting, I don't know if I could, you know, state that as being one of my traits or anything like that, or at least good traits or something that I'm like, you know, excel at. But seeing Ross in this episode, being infatuated with this pizza delivery girl and continuously ordering pizza and trying to like get her attention and try to woo her with these ridiculous lines that he throws out during the course of this episode. And it's funny, Chandler, to me, I always found the most relatable to and also my favorite character. He was always that hopeless romantic in the earlier part of the seasons. Obviously, towards the later, once he married Monica, he became unrelatable to me. I related to the hopeless romantic part of him and his relationships not working out and just, you know, wanting to find the right person. And but here in this episode, Chandler is actually one that can flirt and easily just talk to, you know, another woman. But of course, during this season, he's already with Monica, so that's already established. I guess he's got more of a confidence in that. So it's weird me being able to relate to the Ross character because of this. And this is probably one of the only like few qualities, because Ross is just a character on a whole different level. But here it is. Here's a clip from the one where Ross can't flirt. It's my number 9. Here we go.
Hi.
Hi.
One vegetarian pizza. It's $12.15.
Oh. By the way, if it makes you feel any better, I happen to like 8-year-old boys.
What?
I mean, your hair, before, your hair. You said you thought that your hair looked like an 8-year-old boy's, and I'm just saying I like it. The hair.
Thanks.
You understand, I don't actually like 8-year-old
You know, all I'm looking for is the money.
Here you go. Now stop bringing us pizzas, you.
I'm gonna try.
boys. Hey! Oh, we can't keep eating like this.
It's $12.50.
Okay. So, do you make the pizzas in one of those wood-burning ovens?
No, actually, I think they're gas.
Gas? Wow. Intense.
If this is the way all the Gellers flirt, we don't have a problem.
Hey, you know that smell gas has?
Yeah.
They put that in.
What?
The gas is odorless, but they add the smell so you know when there's a leak.
Well, okay.
A lot of other gas smells.
Oh, the humanity.
Methane smells.
You know what? Actually, I should go.
Oh, but I haven't paid you yet.
You know what? That's okay. You guys have ordered so many that this one's on me.
Last I heard, the cops had over 600 reports of missing women still in Detroit. 600.
Was I talking to her about gas?
More so than anything else.
I found it interesting.
At number 8 is The One with Unagi. This is from season 6, episode 17, and the original air date was February 24th, 2000. Now, the character of Ross, to me, becomes very cartoonish and animated after pretty much the events of season 4 and his wedding debacle with Emily and when all that falls apart. This is where Ross starts to really get super cartoonish. And it's in this season where, in this specific episode, where he has a battle of showmanship and who's like tougher. And he has this thing going on with Rachel and Phoebe, who are trying to take self-defense classes, and Ross is just trying to teach him this thing called Unagi. And it's just this whole ridiculous thing that he does throughout the episode, and trying to, sneak attack them and trying to like teach them the ways. But he goes about it in such a dorky way that all the other characters in the show like don't respond to it, and they kind of think it's ridiculous. Like there's a part where Ross, I believe he's doing like laundry in the episode, and he's in his apartment, and Chandler comes in, and obviously Ross has his back to Chandler, and he says something along the lines of like, "Hey Chandler, I sensed that it was you." Just really stupid like little lines like that, and I absolutely love it. This is probably my favorite of Ross, just because it's so animated, it's so over the top. And like I said, after season 4 and on is when he starts to become really, really animated. And I believe this is probably the same season where he loses it when someone eats his sandwich at work. And it didn't make my list, that episode, but that's one of another very over-the-top moments from the character of Ross Geller, played by David Schwimmer. But this is, here's a scene from The One with Unagi.
A lesson in the importance of unagi.
Oh, you're a freak.
Perhaps. Now, curious. At what point during those girlish screams would you have begun to kick my ass?
All right, so we weren't prepared.
I'm sorry I had to take such drastic measures to make my point, but look, I just want you guys to be safe.
Oh.
Danger! Unagi.
At number 7 is the one where they all turn 30. This is from season 7, episode 14, and it originally aired on February 8th, 2001. Now, this one, obviously, now I can relate to years now because I myself am 32 at this moment, about to be 33 in October, and this one has aged really well. It's a real fun episode. This is the one where Rachel herself is turning 30 and she's all depressed about it. And the episode reflects on all the different characters turning 30. And it's just wild. It's fun. It's you get to see, different scenes throughout the years and all these shenanigans that they're going through. And obviously, like, once you turn 30, there's this kind of all downhill from here type of attitude that's kind of displayed by all these characters. In a way, I can now relate to it, having turned 30, and I know it's not the end of the world, but it's really when things start to it's time to be a grown up. So it's a real eye turner for me now that I'm grown up. When I was younger, when this originally aired, I think I was still in high school. It didn't really couldn't relate, but now being a full-on adult, this episode really plays well to me, and it's my number 7, the one where they all turn 30.
Hey. She's not as pretty as she was when she was 29.
Miss Green would like to establish some ground rules before she comes out. She would appreciate it if you didn't use the words old or downhill, or they still look pretty damn good.
They do.
Rachel, come on out. Monica made breakfast. Chocolate chip pancakes.
We've got presents.
Good ones? They all came from the list you handed out to us 2 weeks ago. Well, can I keep the presents and still be 29?
Come on, Reg. Look, turning 30's not that big a deal.
Oh, really? Is that how you felt when you turned 30?
Why, God, why? We had a deal. Let the others grow old, not me.
Oh, come on, you guys. Is it just me? Am I overreacting to this?
No, Rach, it's not just you. My 30th birthday certainly wasn't that much fun.
And now Chandler. We're all getting so old. Why are you doing this to us?
At number 6 is the one with the bullies. This is from season 2, episode 21, and the original air date was April 25th, 1996. Now, as the title states, it is the one with the bullies. This is where Ross and Chandler deal with some, I guess you could say, really high-end, rich douchebags. They're in Central Perk, the coffee shop where they all hang out, and it's Ross and Chandler not deciding to go work out or play or whatever they're gonna do. They're getting ready for some type of exercising workout, and they're like, then let's just hang out at the coffee shop instead. So as they're about to sit down, there's these two guys that show up. One of them's played by Nicky Katt, who I know he's a really good supporting character who showed up in movies like Boiler Room. He's in The Dark Knight, in the Joker chase scene with the tumbler. He's the guy in the police vehicle holding Harvey Dent. So for those of you that don't know where that guy's from, you can check out those movies and you'll see him there. But that's besides the point. And, they're giving Ross and Chandler this this hard time about sitting in their seats. And of course, you know, Ross and Chandler have to be the sarcastic ones that they are, and just like how these characters just they can't help themselves but just, you know, try to be smart asses in any situation. And that goes for all these characters, which is why I love it so much. So the whole episode is them confronting these guys and also not wanting to hang out at the coffee shop and also not wanting help. You know, they kind of want to like handle this situation on their own. You know, they could easily get Joey involved. Joey's probably the more tougher of the three guys, you know, who's willing to lend a hand, but they're like, no, you know what, let's fight these guys, and you know, let's just deal with it our own way. So it's also got another one of my favorite like Chandler moments, and you know, obviously they're getting bullied, right? And I think during this season, like, Ross and Rachel are already a thing, and they're talking about what happened to them the first time getting bullied by these guys. They're in the apartment of Monica and Rachel, and they're explaining all this, and you know, they're all bummed out, and then, you know, Rachel goes up to Ross, hugs him, consoles him. Sorry. And Chandler kind of does like a motion to like, oh, like, you know, where's my significant other? And he's like, oh no, wait a minute, I have nobody. And, you know, that's just, again, one of the most things that I'm so, like, I relate to Chandler the most is this, like, romantic, like, hopeless romantic, like, always, like, bummed out that he's single or whatever. You know, again, super relatable. And again, one of my favorite Chandler moments. I've posted it plenty of times throughout the years on social media, that exact clip. But this is the one with the bullies.
I am so beat.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you want to just forget about racquetball and hang out here?
Yeah, all right.
Hey, you're in our seats.
Oh, sorry, we didn't know.
Hey, we were sitting there. Okay, there is one more way to say it. Who knows it? Is that supposed to be funny? No, actually, I was just going for colorful.
What's with this guy?
What's with you?
Nothing. Nothing's with him. Enjoy your coffee.
What just happened? I just took your hat. See, I can be funny too. My joke is that I took your hat. Well, that is funny. Can I have it back? No. No?
No. Okay. You know what? I think you're very funny. Kudos on that hat joke. But come on, guys, just give him back the hat.
Why should we?
Because it's a special hat. See, he bought it because he was feeling really down one day, so he got the hat to cheer himself up, you know? Now, Chandler, you wouldn't...
Stop talking now. Let me just get this straight. You're actually stealing my hat?
You got a problem with that?
No, just want to make sure we're on the same page.
At number 5 is The One with the Rumor. This is from Season 8, Episode 9, and it originally aired on November 22nd, 2001. Now, one of the staples of the Friends series was that they were really known for their Thanksgiving episodes. Like, that could be its own top 10 list. You know, you can rank those. But this one in particular, I really love because it has the special guest appearance from the one and only Brad Pitt. Now, as I stated at the beginning of this episode, he was dating Jennifer Aniston at this time. So they were like this huge power couple. And getting him on this show was like a really big deal. You know, it's Brad Pitt, you know, one of the biggest movie stars in the world. And there's been multiple guest appearances from different actors throughout this series. You know, you had Julia Roberts, Bruce Willis, George Clooney, you know, Danny DeVito, like all these different actors. Everybody that you can think of, like from the 90s and when movie superstars were a big deal, like everybody showed up on Friends at some point. But to me, one of my favorite appearances is, of course, Brad Pitt. And like I said, he was dating Jennifer Aniston, But in this episode, he plays the old college roommate friend of Ross, and or high school, I should say. Sorry, not college, high school. And in this episode, he hates Rachel's character. Like, he's in absolute disgust with her, and all these things going on. It's in one setting in the apartment, which is another one of the staples that I love about this show, is when a lot of the great ones involve just them being in one setting, and the entire episode can take place there, and all this magic happens. And I think if I were to go back and if I were to do be a teacher and do drama class, I would give a lot of projects being episodes of Friends you could do as one act plays. I think that would be really fun to do. I don't know if anybody does that. That's something I could research, but man, if I were a drama teacher, that'd be something I would look into doing with as a class project or a final exam, something like that. That's what I would do if I was a teacher, a drama teacher specifically. But here it is, the one with the rumor. This is probably one of the top Thanksgiving episodes, although I think there's another one that's going to pop up later in this this countdown. Here it is, the one with the rumor.
That's it? Even if nobody helps me, I can eat that, no problem. At least give me a challenge.
This is Chandler's chicken. This is the turkey.
Oh. How big is that?
It's about 19 pounds.
It's like me when I was born.
All right, who would like some yams? Will?
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
What? Oh, you know what? Can we please keep the chicken and the turkey and everything on the other side of the table? The smell is just ugh.
Typical.
I'm sorry, what?
I said it was typical. Typical of you. Rachel Green, Queen Rachel, does whatever she wants in the little Rachel land.
Seriously, who is this guy?
I'm sorry. Do you have a problem with me?
I don't know. Do I? Do I?
I think you do. Apparently you were a little mean to him in high school.
A little mean. You made my life miserable.
I had no idea. I'm sorry.
Well, you should be. Screw it. Bring on the yams.
Well, but you've worked so hard.
Yams!
Okay.
Will, I just want to say that I'm real sorry for whatever I did to you in high school.
Oh, it wasn't just me. We had a club.
You had a club?
That's right. The I Hate Rachel Green Club.
Whoa, my God. So what, you all just joined together to hate me? Who else was in this club?
Me and Ross.
No need to point. She knows who Ross is.
So you were in an I Hate Rachel club?
Yes, he was.
No.
So who else was in this club?
Actually, there was also that exchange student from Thailand, but I don't think he knew what it was.
So, Ross, we went out for 2 years, and you never told me you were in an I Hate Rachel club.
You went out with her? We had a pact.
That was in high school. It's not like it was binding forever.
Then why did it have the word eternity in it?
Okay, Monica, did you know about this?
I swear I didn't. Hey, is that why you guys used to go up to your bedroom and lock the door?
Yeah.
A little relieved, I gotta say.
Look, Rachel, I'm sorry, okay? I was a stupid kid, okay? The only reason I joined...
Co-founded
the club was that I was insanely in love with you. Obviously, I didn't handle it very well. But if you think about it, the I Hate Rachel Club was really the I Love Rachel Club.
Except that it was really the I Hate Rachel Club.
At number 4 is The One with the Lottery. This is from Season 9, Episode 18, and the original air date was April 3rd, 2003. Now, you're probably asking yourself, you talked about how the later seasons were more about them going their own ways and kind of start to grow apart a little bit. And yeah, that's true, but I still find this episode very sweet because it's one of the ones where we got to see them all together again as one group. And, you know, again, it's all mostly takes place at the apartment. And, yeah, it's all them pitching in to buy multiple tickets for the Powerball. And just all this great comedy ensues. And again, it's super sweet because it's also dealing with a storyline where Chandler's not being able to land this job, and that's hovering over all of them. And, you know, just all these little great moments. And again, it's towards the latter part of the series. So it was great to see one of these episodes again towards the end of its run where they're all just together. And again, there's nothing else in the way because, you know, like I said, they were all into their own like little storylines as it was drawing near to the end. Like even Phoebe, Paul Rudd became like a supporting character that showed up towards the latter seasons, and he ended up becoming the husband to Phoebe. And like I said, yeah, they were starting to grow apart, but here was one where again they got together. Just there's not really any like conflict. It's just them like dealing with this and what they're gonna do with the money. And again, it just leads to some great comedy moments, and it's one you should check out. I know it's not from like season 8 on. There's not really episodes that are talked about, but this is one that stands out with me, and it's a good one. The One with the Lottery, number 4.
Monica, hey, can I borrow the Porsche?
Okay.
All right.
But, what is it not?
A place to entertain my lady friends.
And what else is it not?
Place to eat spaghetti.
Very good.
Thanks.
What do you need it for anyway?
Oh, the Powerball lottery is up to $300 million, and they don't sell tickets here in New York, so.
Oh, so you're driving up to Connecticut?
Yeah, Connecticut, not West Virginia.
Hey, maybe I'll drive you up there. I'd like to buy some tickets myself. Ooh. Yeah, with Chandler not getting paid, we could really use $300 million.
Yes, because if I was at my old job, we'd say, 300 million? No, thank you.
Hey, will you get me tickets too? Yeah, me too.
Sure.
Oh, I have an idea. Why don't we all pitch in $50? We'll pool our money together, and then if we win, we'll split it. Oh, that's a great idea.
No thanks.
You don't want to win the lottery?
Sure I do. I also want to be king of my own country and find out what happened to Amelia Earhart.
Still on Amelia Earhart?
The woman just vanished.
Seriously, Ross, you don't want in on this?
No. Do you know what your odds are of winning the lottery? I mean, you have a better chance of being struck by lightning 42 times.
Yes, but there's 6 of us, so we'd only have to get struck by lightning 7 times.
I like those odds.
Seriously, you guys, I can't believe you're going to spend $250 on the lottery. I mean, it's such a bunch of boo hockey.
I'll ask. Boo hockey.
Oh, we think Emma's about to start talking, so we're trying to be careful about what words we use in front of her.
Yeah, so get ready to hear a lot of boo hockey, gosh darn it, and brother pucker.
How do you know she's gonna start talking?
Well, when I talk to her, I almost feel like she understands what I'm saying.
Kind of like Joey.
What's that now?
At number 3 is The One with the Football. From season 3, episode 9, and the original air date was November 21st, 1996. This is the classic Ross versus Monica and their competitive nature, just getting the absolute best of them. Obviously, they involve the crew as well. They play a 3-on-3 football game during Thanksgiving, which was, like I said, one of the staples of this series. So this is the second one to show up on the countdown. The zingers here are fantastic. Especially between Ross and Monica, who are just competing as brother and sister. And the clip that I'm going to show you doesn't have that moment that I'm going to talk to you about right now. I'm sorry, it's still one of my favorites. So there's a moment where they're playing this game, right? And I believe Ross says something like, it's 3rd down. And Monica's like, no, it's not. It's 2nd down. And Ross is just like, well, like, I can't believe you. And Monica's like, what? Like, what? Like, what's your problem? And he's like, no, it's okay. Like, that's fine. It's second down. Take all the second downs you need. Hey, I heard that. Well, I said it loud. That's just one of the best zingers. And I think I've used it to this day I've used it on some people, like whether it was at work or, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've used it. Because it's just one of the lines that's just stuck with me because the sarcasm is just unbelievable. And I think there's another point where they're arguing and Ross doesn't know what to say, so he just lets out a, huh. And Monica's response is like, oh, what a great argument, exhaling. And it's just, oh, man. The zingers here are just top-notch. It involves football, like my favorite sport, Thanksgiving, just overall fun stuff. And I think, like, I want to start my own tradition with my kids when they grow up, and hopefully I can introduce them to this show, and maybe they'll take a liking to it, maybe not. But once they're older, I would love to start a tradition on Thanksgiving to watch these episodes with them and see if they like it and enjoyed it as much as I have. Maybe they won't, but I'm going to give it a shot because it's just too funny to not try to recommend it to somebody. But here it is, the one with the football.
For once, I'm going to sit down and try to watch one of these things.
Halftime.
Hey, who wants to throw the ball around a little? Maybe get a little 3-on-3 going.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
Oh, can I play too? I've never played football, like, ever.
Great, you can cover Chandler.
No, I don't really want to play.
Come on, man. You ever want to do anything since you and Janice broke up?
That's not true. I wanted to wear my bathrobe and eat peanut clusters all day. I wanted to start drinking in the morning. Don't say that I don't have goals.
Chandler, you have to start getting over her, all right? If you play, you get some fresh air. Maybe you'll take your mind off Janice. And if you don't play, everyone will be mad at you because the teams won't be even. Come on.
All right, I'll play.
Yay! Let's do it! Ross?
What?
Want to play football?
Monica and I aren't supposed to play football.
Says who? Your mom?
Yes. Well, every Thanksgiving, we used to have a touch football game called the Geller Bowl.
No, you say that proudly.
Anyway, Ross and I were always captains, and it got kind of competitive, and one year, Geller Bowl 6, I accidentally broke Ross's nose.
It was so not an accident. She saw I was about to tag her, so she threw her big fat grandma arm elbow in my face. Just kept running.
To score the winning touchdown, by the way.
Ho. You did not win the game. The touchdown didn't count because of the spectacularly illegal... Oh, and by the way, savage, nose breaking.
I won the game.
Oh, yeah? Then how come you didn't get the Geller Cup?
There was a Geller Cup.
Yes, it was the trophy you got if you won the game. But our dad said nobody won that game, and he was sick of our fighting, so he took the trophy... threw it in the lake.
And was the curse lifted?
Anyway, that's when Mom said we were not allowed to play football again.
You know what? I think we should play a game. I mean, come on, it's been 12 years.
Can I see you for a second?
What?
All right, we're gonna play.
Well, wait a minute, though. How are we going to get there? Because my mom won't let me cross the street.
At number 2, The One Where No One's Ready, from Season 3, Episode 2, and the original air date was September 26, 1996. Now, this is a classic, like, this is the one I would probably do as a one-act play. Okay, so it's all of them getting dressed up nice for the evening. They have this special event to go for Ross where he's going to be honored. And obviously, everybody here is dealing with their own little things. And, it's taking them all longer than they should to just, tidy up and go out to this event. But one of the standouts here... Oh, man. Okay. So Ross and Rachel get into a spat here because, he's just like rushing her to try to get ready, and all she wants to do is just like dress up real nice for him, and she can't decide what to wear. Anyways, he pisses her off at some point, right? So she's like just decides that she doesn't want to go. Now during this episode, there is a cup of fat that is just sitting like in the fridge, right? And Joey's like egging on people throughout to just get people to try to like drink the fat and whatever. So as this moment is going on between Ross and Rachel, and Ross is like pleading with her, like, what can I do? Like, well, how can I rectify this situation? How can I get you to just, dress up and please, like, I really want you to be there. How can I make this better? And Joey, like, just randomly shouts out, or not shouts out, but he states, why don't you have him drink the fat? And it's just so childish, right? And Ross looks over at Joey, and it's the way he delivers the line. And he just looks at him and he's like, hi, welcome to an adult conversation. And just, man, I don't know how I could get through a line reading like that and do it with such a straight face the way Ross does it. But it's just one of these like little things, just so random, like drinking a cup of fat could turn into such comedy in the way they throw out the zingers at each other. But yeah, so much going on in this episode, and little things like, Joey sitting in Chandler's spot, and now Chandler's sitting there, and it just becomes this whole big deal. All these shenanigans, and again, I loved these self-contained episodes where they all take place in pretty much one setting. So it's all taking place in Monica and Rachel's apartment, and it's perfect, and it's definitely the one that I would do as a play if I got a group of people together, or if I was teaching drama classes. Is exactly the episode that I would look at to reenact and reimagine. So here it is, the one where no one's ready, the penultimate, number 2 on my countdown.
Monica, can Phoebe borrow your green dress?
I called him. Oh. Yes. Well, I got his machine and I left a message. But it's okay. It's okay, because, it was like a casual, breezy message. It was breezy. Oh, God, what if it wasn't breezy?
Well, how could it not be breezy? No, because you're in such a breezy place.
I got it. I will play my message for you guys, and you can tell me if it's breezy enough.
But, Monica, how are you going to do that?
I know the code to his answering machine.
Okay, Mom, I really don't think this is the... Okay, you're dialing. You are dialing.
What's going on?
Monica's beeping into Richard's machine.
Is she crazy?
Like a straw. Remember crazy straws?
Hi, this is Richard. Please leave a message at the tone.
You have 2 new messages.
Wow, what a cool job. You have 2 new messages. Please pass the pie.
Hi, it's Monica. I'm just checking in because I got this message from you and I didn't know if it was old or new or what, so I'm just checking. So let me know. Or don't, whatever. I'm breezy.
Hey, you can't say you're breezy. That totally negates the breezy.
Hola, it's me. Yesterday was really fun. Call me about this weekend, okay?
Now, she sounded breezy.
All right, here we go. We've come to the end of this countdown. Are you guys ready? Are you all ready for what my favorite episode of Friends is? And for those of you that are like real close to me, you probably know the answer to this, but for the rest of the world, my number 1 episode is the one with the embryos from season 4, episode 12, and the original air date was January 15th, 1998. Now, it's titled The One with the Embryos because this is the episode where we find out Phoebe is impregnated and going to hold the children for her brother and his wife. Weird storyline, super weird. Not something that would probably work in today's world or today's culture. But it was a funny storyline, also super weird now when you look back on it. But that's not why this episode is my favorite. Why this episode is my absolute number one and just tops all of the rest is the high stakes game that is going on between Joey and Chandler up against Monica and Rachel for the fate of their apartments. And it's all because it stems from a little competition of who thinks they know each other better than they know themselves, right? Now, this is what to me epitomizes the whole staple of the Friends show, is that they all know each other's little flaws and their tics, what makes them happy, what pisses them off. All of that is brought together in this episode, and it's turned into like a little game show, which is moderated by Ross. I can't tell you how many times I've rewatched this episode. I almost know it line for line. And I think if you catch me on a good night where if I get drunk and if I wanted to perform, if you ask me, hey, perform that scene from Friends, I could probably still do it. That's how much I watched it when I was younger. But again, the banter here is so perfect. The way that they know each other and all these little things about each other. It's what symbolizes to me what this whole show is about and how close they all are. And it always like left me in, envy. Like I wish I lived in a world where I had friends like this, where they know the absolute backbone of you and they know every little thing about you, but not just because they're, gossiping or anything like that. It's because they genuinely care about each other. And that's why it is my number one. Here it is, the one with the embryos.
What? She's mad because I know today's her laundry day, and that means she's wearing her old lady underpants.
I can check that for you.
I just can't believe that you think that you and Chandler know me and Rachel better than we know you.
Well, we do. You can only eat Tic Tacs and even numbers.
Yeah, what's that about?
And you, Ross, I believe if you check Rachel's bag, you will find a half-eaten box of cookies in there.
You're good. These are not.
So not impressed. Everybody snacks when they shop.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Ross, how many items left in that bag?
5.
Okay, $10 says that we can name every item in that bag.
How many guesses do you get?
6.
Challenge extended.
Deal.
Challenge accepted.
All right, we'll start with apples.
We'll be starting with apples.
Stop that now.
Yes.
Okay, tortilla chips, yogurt.
Diet soda.
Yes, yes, yes.
Orange juice.
No! There's no orange juice in there! We win!
Hey, have another guess.
Okay, well, we won that one.
Okay, the last thing.
Oh!
No, not for like another 2 weeks.
I got it. Scotch tape.
How did you know she would buy Scotch tape?
Well, we used up theirs last night making scary faces.
Man!
All right, $10. Fork it over. Cough it up. Pay the piper. Give me it.
That does not mean you know us better. I want a rematch.
Yeah, and none of these stupid grocery questions. Real personal questions.
Yeah. And the winner gets $100.
You serious?
Are you scared?
No. Okay, who makes up the questions?
Ross will do it.
Oh, sure, Ross will do it. It's not like he has a job or a child or a life of his own.
Well, fine, we'll ask Phoebe.
No, I want to play.
And that's going to do it for my top 10. So much good stuff. Like I said, it's really hard to narrow it down. I was able to do this list only because, I've seen this show so many times and, it's... I know what moments stand out the most for me and which episodes have like a long-lasting effect on me. But there's so many great moments and, I want to talk about a little bit of some honorable mentions. obviously all these characters got to interact with each other throughout the years in separate episodes. You know, they weren't always all together. They would branch out, and there'd be an episode, you know, about like Joey and Monica or Ross and Phoebe. But one of my favorite team ups, and there wasn't that many of them if you go back and look at it, but the episodes where they did get together and have it be like they have their own little storyline was whenever Chandler and Rachel would get together. I think their chemistry was really well. Like, they really played off of each other pretty good. You know, there's a storyline where Chandler's dating Rachel's boss. There's an episode where they're fawning over some cheesecake and they're trying to figure out how they can get some. You know, just little things like that I really enjoyed. Obviously, all the Joey and Chandler stuff when they're just being guys in their apartment, when they, you know, just go all out, buy some badass like recliners, they set up the big screen TV, all that stuff. There's so many great moments. But those are just some honorable mentions for me. But these are my top 10, and I'm pretty satisfied with this list. Again, from 6 and on, those can change, and there can even be different episodes. Like maybe in another 10 years, this list could be completely different. But as far as like from 6 to 10, but as far as the top 5 go, these are pretty much embedded in my brain, and I don't think those are going to change very much, if at all. But yeah, it's gonna wrap it up for this special top 10 of my favorite Friends episodes. I would love to know what you guys' favorites is. You know, I never get tired of talking about this show. I can make this a freaking round table if I could find people that would just be willing to talk about this show. It's gonna be around forever. People are still discovering it. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to head to next because Netflix is about to lose the rights soon. I think it's going to show up on the HBO Max streaming service. So if you're not sure which streaming service you're going to go to, because there's going to be a lot that are about to pop up, think about HBO Max, because I think that one's going to have Friends, and I'm not sure how much longer it's going to have life on like TBS or like Nick at Night, things like that. There's just other shows that are starting to make their way that have earned their syndication rights, and Friends is a little bit more of an older show, but even though it's still very popular, but who knows, maybe it'll still be on TBS and those stations. But we'll see, like in another 25 years where this show is still in the consciousness of people. I of course will never get tired of watching it. There's over 200 plus episodes, so how could you really get tired of it? Real quickly, I guess if I had to pick out a favorite season, I would probably go with season 3, and that's just because that's like the last season where there's really just like not really like a major storyline. There's just all these different things happening. And then, of course, when you get on to season 4 and on, and you really start to get a focus of what this show is really trying to be in terms of like who they're trying to get together, and all these other different storylines. But season 3 is just a standout where there's not really that much conflict. I mean, there is, but for the most part, it's just them at their peak of being like single and just navigating and finding their way in the world. And the creator of this show summed it up perfectly. I think I saw like in an interview, is that Friends is about that time in your life when those closest to you, your closest friends are like the most important thing in your life, and as you're trying to figure out who you want to be in this world. And because once you get your family and you want to have kids and all that stuff, and you settle into your career, you kind of like you do drift apart from your friends. Some people you do stay close friends with, but it's never the same as when you're like single. And I can speak only on my experience, because I know when I had kids, my life drastically changed as far as like, I didn't really hang out with the same friends, and I've gotten to meet some other great people who have kids, and I've just interacted with different people now that I'm settled in on as an adult. Like I'm still trying to figure my way in the world, and what I'm going to end up really doing for the next, 10 10, 20 years. But it's different once you get a family and carve your own path that way. It's never the same as when you're single and just young in your 20s and all that. But I don't want to get too sad about that because it's always a show you can go back and just think about, reminisce on those times, and also just it's good for a laugh. It's always what Friends is always going to be for me. It's this amazing laugh, and again, it's just this comfort whenever I put on an episode of theirs, and doesn't matter what episode it is, it will always get the job done for me as, like I said, one of my top 3 favorite shows of all time. And I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've listened in. And, hopefully you watch yourself some Friends on this 25-year celebration. I know I want to watch these episodes right away. That's probably what I'm going to do here once I finish editing this and putting it up on the Apple Podcast or in Podbean, however you listen to your podcast. And I hope you take the time to listen to this one, because this is one I thought about really. I know I wanted to do something for Friends, but I didn't think I was going to make a whole episode about it. But it's so deserving of it getting its own special. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. God bless y'all, and I'm going to leave you here with another tidbit. It's the promo from the final episode of Friends, and it's still it gives me goosebumps, and it's a sadness that it's finished, but I'm also glad that it had this tremendous run, because shows now run for a long time, but back then, if you got a 10-year run, you were something special. And to me, Friends will forever be a special show, and it'll always have a special place with me as one of the greatest things ever created in pop culture. So, good night.
It's not very often an event comes along that brings everyone together. And what better reason than Friends? Join us on one final night for one final goodbye.
Do not get on this plane.
Television's biggest night. The 2-hour Friends finale begins 8/7 Central, NBC Thursday.